Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Welcome, welcome. Not that many guests today. I saw one hiding somewhere. Oh, Shalom Aleichem, all in the corner. You're still a guest, no? First time? What's your name?
Alan Proctor, father of the Hasidic basketball player.
Oh. Very nice, very nice. Shalom Aleichem. Where do you live? He didn't grow up in Muncie, that guy.
He did.
He pretends like he came from Alabama.
He was born in Yerushalayim, and then we was a year and a half.
He's not okay. He's a Heimischer. Really? Chavetz Chaim Heritage Foundation. Beautiful. World Child, the whole thing. Rabbi Isai, check this out. I'm so impressed by this. Antwerp Shir watch location, Motzi Shabbos launch night. Check this out. The amount of people there. Look at this. This is Gival. More people there than we had in the Beis Medrash last night, maybe. Look at all these locations that we have in Chutz La'aretz. We have Borough Park, Kensington, Williamsburg, Staten Island, B&H Photo, Bergen County, Jackson, New Jersey, Baltimore, Muncie 1, 2, and 3. Wow. Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles 2. We know the 2 locations. Antwerp and London. Rabbi Isai, we know where there's other places that are not in here because we forgot about you. So send in where you are, v'chulu. Some of this is only Hebrew. I don't know if we should watch location and allow if everybody is together. This guy said that he went onto one of these chat groups. He came home for Ben Izmanim, Yeshiva Bacher. Aaron Kovner, he learned a bunch of Mesechtas, over 1,000 daf, maybe 1,700 daf, I forgot already how many, 18 Mesechtas with us. So he got home, so he went onto that thing to see a joke or two, and he has 6,000 followers, and he sees that the guy put on his status to start Zevachim with us. He's jealous. Everybody and how the amount of followers that they have, but Lamaisi can make a difference. Shkoyach. Listen to this. Here, writing your Talmud from KJ. He's from. I have one, but okay, I might need another one. Thank you. Isaac Lichtenstein from Sanhedrin Daf Tzadik, not missed a day. 177 days, Baruch Hashem. Again, a Satmar Chassid from Kiryas Yoel. I got inspired to take on myself not to speak during Kaddish. You understand, they will all give praise to Hashem. I felt in the middle of Kaddish that I'm not alone, that I'm part of 40,000 plus members, and they give praise to Hashem. He's not limited to place, time. Hasidus sector should be blessed. For those that, whatever, a father of 5 beautiful kids, the Changing My Life story needs a separate email. See attached. Good morning, Rabbi Zim, from some of my children. Thanks, Rebelli, with all involved in MDY. Good Kiben Shiyud. Here's the kids. Check this out. In Kiryas Yoel. This is what it looks like in Kiryas Yoel. Yeah, it's like an Americanish English. So it's without the Avuda. Nachman and you guys don't say a word here. Somebody sent this in and he wanted to know when was the last time we showed this in Shir and why we'd show it in Shir. Shah, what's going on over here? That's me. That's me on Purim. Yeah. Before I was in Maggid Shir. This was not in Israel. Yeah. This he's very mad. He's very mad. He said that this Chayin, why does he have to mess up the machshava? Because of him, everybody in Daf Yomi has to suffer.
למה אתה שוחט בשביל שיזרקו? מה יש לכם? אתם דפוקים לגמרי, כהנים, אתם פשוט אנשים. מה זה? למה? וזה לא רק אני סובל בגללו, זה כל מי שלומד דף יומי סובל עכשיו בגללו. בגללו שיש לו מחשבות, תפסיק לחשוב. בעל מחשבת.
בעל מחשבת. Oh, let me see.
It's real.
This I appreciated this coming from Lou Shapiro, top attorney in Lou Shap?
That's how he goes. He goes by Lou Shap.
Lou Shap. Okay, Lou Shap. Listen to this. Compliment. The chart intro on Daf Daled, 60-minute mark. He's talking about, I think we have it here, but it's the 4 psukim, the me'atzad, and the arrows. Many liked it a lot. It's concise and perfectly set the table for the sugya. It's night and day learning with your approach in comparison to sitting around the table with someone trying to illustrate ideas by only verbalizing them. It may only be a minute on the video, but we appreciate how much more time and effort it takes to create that 1 minute so that we can understand and follow. That's why I support MDY and urge others to as well. P.S. I'm holding out for a video introducing Zevachim, this time the Kohen Gadol doing backflips. Lou Shap, certified criminal law specialist. The Chvay Rebelli, he's the one, Nachamal. When I didn't say hello to Mayweather, what's his name? Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, whatever. And I said hello to the guy with him, and I tried to convince him, but at the end I ended up convincing Lou Shap. Chvay Rebelli, last year, Zevi Stern married Bas Yeshena. This is a big one for MDY. You remember that we had an almana on Zoom. She never showed her face, but she always listened. She wanted the Kol Torah in her house because her husband was a Talmid Chacham, wrote a sefer. She got married. It was like an MDY shidduch, I think. He listens to the Hebrew shir, and she used to have your shir on her, after her husband was nifter. They, Baruch Hashem, had a baby girl. By the way, the video you sent them on the day they got married was awesome. Much appreciated. Ephraim Silberberg. Beautiful. Masechta sponsored by David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Imoiri. Yeah, we gave this out, but here, let me show. Boisai, Rabbi Dahari from Manchester made these beautiful, Yossi Dahariya, beautiful luchos, calendars. So we have here on the table, I gave them out before Shir, but here they are. Good stuff, good stuff. Yishkoyach. Everybody's in the mood of giving. David Salomon, dedicated in Avi Moiri, Reb Shmuel Baruch Ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Doiv. Zechron Levrach. The Masechta sponsored anonymous. The Ilu Nishmas Doidi Shlomo Yehuda Ben Shmuel Chaim Zechron Levrach. Shokav Elom Kodjim Kol Chayov. Anonymous. The Schus Refuah Shlomo Nochem Tzvi Ben Yenta. Sponsored by Skybrook Capital. In honor of our friends Mary Kovacs, Taki and Shamshi Shlafrak for the devotion to the Torah study and the Shir. Joel Gedalius. The Nishmas, my father, Jack Gedalius. Anonymous. Atzlocha Baruch Nis Ube Gashmius. Co-sponsored. Monthly. Anonymous from London. Atzlocha in Business. Monthly sponsor TCS Israel, powered by Talking Save. Aaron Kessler, in honor of the marriage of my son and my daughter, and my relocated to Eden Gardens in Orlando, Florida. Anonymous from London. Atzlocha Beparnaso. Yuda Lushinsky. In honor of my father's 6th cycle of the Daf, your big heart in giving to the community is an inspiration for all of us. Weekly sponsors, Sheldon Donna Reich, Leon Nishmas, Noam Ben Pinchas Halevi, and Noam Ben Yehuda. May the Neshamas have an aliyot. And may Shlomo Ruvain Ben Hinda have a speedy refuah shlema. Amen. Anonymous for a year, full of atzlocha and ruchnius and gashmius. Daily sponsors, Judith Neil Halpern, Leon Nishmas, Judith's father, Avram Chaim Ben Yisrael. Shalom should have an aliyah. Chaim Rivka Malka Rubenstein, Leon Nishmas Aviva Tal, Chalei Shalom Basri Avram on her 3rd yard side, and Shalom should have an aliyah. Brian Gandlin, your Talmud from Staten Island since Megillah. Thank you, Yitzchok Gloria, for recruiting me. Karsa Toiv.
Your grand Talmud. Your grandson. Gloria is your Talmud. He's the next.
Oh my. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. The Walben family, Yosef Yehuda ben Yitzchok Halevi, Zechron Levracha, Jonathan and Ilana Austin. Oh, in honor of the engagement of our daughter Tamar to Yair Ashendorf. Mazel Tov. Martin Lipschutz, dedicated in memory of Imi Moirasi, Miriam Braver Lipschutz, Miriam Bas Yehuda Shalom. Your side is today. Shalom should have an aliyah. Abe and Cherry Belsky of cheermarket.com, Rabbi Isai. We have enough from them every single day. We sit in these geschmacked cheers. Mazel Tov to our grandson Eli Lachorsky of Cedarhurst. Engagement to Brachov Ram of Toronto. Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov, Reb Abe. And the guys from Shpacha Zev and Moti. Chesky Shane. Mazel Tov. Temdi Wire Shua Ludmir. On the new baby boy. Keep on daffing. Mazel Tov. Anonymous Refuah Shlema Tinuk Ben Sarah. Mindel. MDY Art. Monthly Refuah Shlema for Yehonatan Eitem Ben Beshav Bracha. Refuah Shlema. Mordechai Ben Esther. The Refuah Hayela. Daniel Zev Ben Ayelet Esther. Boisai, we're holding on the bottom of the Vav, Amud Beis. Yesterday we were learning, in the Beis HaMikdash they had a pen with a number of Tmidim, and they would choose from those tmidim to bring a carbon tamid 2 a day, but they had extra. I think there was 4 extra. Shalom Aleichem, guys. They had 4 extra. So what do you do in the beginning of the year? The beginning of the year for that purpose is the first day of Nisan. You start all over again. New money in the what is it called? No, the Lishkas Hagazis. Thank you. In Lishkas Hagazis. So the animals in the pen, are they considered a tamid? Were they designated as tmidim? And therefore, they would have to befall a mum. They'd have to go to the Yirachi Stove Park, Kevis land, or not. So we saw the Rav Yudam and Shmuel, and this is to explain Reb Shimon that according to one Mandamar, this Mandamar, he goes that the sakim u'shachton, the knife. I didn't even know about this. You know that some people have a zgula that on Rosh Hashanah they buy like a knife for Rosh Hashanah. Yeah.
Because it's
Choyte chaim l'kol chai. Yeah, whatever. We had this idea that maybe we should give out a knife to all donors on $50,000 and above. Will get a nice engraved MDY knife. Any takers? No. Givaldik. Next. What? Okay, he also used to give out bottles of wine. Yeah. Okay. So, Sakim Shachton. What, you want a knife?
I said it's not going to cut it.
Oh.
I was trying to do it quietly, but he laughed.
Omelei Rav Yosef Reder Shmuel Rav Papa. 4 lines from the bottom. Umi Yislei Rav Shimon Leiv Bezdin Masna Aleim. Do we really have, so what was the idea? I don't know if I finished the idea. The idea is that it's all dependent on Bezdin's mind. Whatever they decide. This carbon tamid is not going to be a tamid until the last moment. They'll decide when it happens. Their heart decides, their mind decides. And therefore, when these animals are in the pen, they're not a tamid. When do they become a carbon tamid? When the kohen shechts it. Up to that point, by Aleph Nisan, they're not tamid. Take them, do whatever you want with them. However, the problem is, say in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Tmidim shelo yitzchul letzibur, those extra tmidim, carbon tamid that are not necessary, the Rabbi Shimon they nivdim tmimim. According to Rabbi Shimon, and that's the one that we're trying to find a good answer for, you cannot redeem them when they're whole. They have to go to the Kevis Land Park, befall a mum, and then redeem them. But we're talking about Rabbi Shimon, ain't nivdim tmimim. Va'oid. So let's just do this Balpeh real quickly. Live now in Uman. No, we had a big tzibur there yesterday. It's 20 people. Okay. There's the headline I forgot to change. There might be a better way to do the headline. We have 3 stages here. When a person designates the animal, when a person shechs the animal, and when a person does zrika on the animal. So he asks the question, what happens when you have 2 animals that were shechted at the same time on Shavuos? You bring 2 goats, and you shech them at the same time. He says, what is the point of doing the zrika? In other words, once you do zrika on one, so that comes to forgive anybody that stepped into the Beis Hamikdash b'tumah, and didn't go out, or stepped in when he was tamei. What's the point of doing a second zrika? See, the Gemara explains, he asked the question, what happens does the second zrika work for in between the zrikas? If somebody became tamei between zrika number 1 and 25 minutes later between zrika number 2, does the second zrika help to forgive him for that aveira? It would seem like the whole question is on the zrika part. Here, let me just show you how it works. Magdish, shchita, zrika 1. And then he stepped on a mouse. Does zrika 2 help? From this picture right over here, what does it seem like? That there's no question about anything prior to that. If a Magdish, then there is a forgiveness. The only question is, after Zrika 1 and 2, he didn't ask about a step before that, because step before this, pasha that it works. That was the whole question. The whole sugya, if we take it a step back, the whole sugya, this question was, once I bring in Oyla, I designate an Oyla, It's already designated as oila, makdish. I made it oila, and then I sinned. Does my oila forgive me for that sin that happened post magdish? Or no, maybe it's like a chatas. Chatas only works for something that I did before I was magdish. That was the whole question. Perhaps from over here we see that it does work. Otherwise, he would ask you, does it work after magdish? Between, put this guy, let's say over here. How come he didn't ask him on this? Does this work? Right after Hagdasha, before Shchita? No, that he didn't ask. He asked between the Zrika 1 and Zrika 2. So says Gemara.
Zrika 2 is a separate carbon, right?
Huh?
Separate carbon. Zrika 2 is a separate carbon, correct?
Zrika 2 is carbon 2.
It's carbon 2.
Yeah, Zrika 2 is, we're going to go into it, we'll see. I just have to tell the Olam. I told Davi last night, so I'll tell the Olam. I'm not going to go into details, but I was pretty sick yesterday. I didn't eat a lot. Though when I went on the scale, a nace happened. I gained 8 pounds somehow. I have no idea. Maybe it's just like I drink a lot. I don't know. And this is an accurate scale.
Yeah, it's totally when you weigh yourself.
I get it. I understand. It was right after Shabbos. But 8 pounds, I was sick. I was mamish, like, I was out of it for hours. I didn't even go to davening in the morning. Anyway, so Zokti Gemara. Void.
Thank you.
I didn't explain much, but there was a kasha. Okay. Kasha has to be said. Void. Here's a question. You have these 2 goats of Shavuos. Shavuos has 4 korbanos. First, he brings the two loaves of bread. That we said is like the main carbon, the main thing, accompanied by 2 shlamim, cheesecake, whatever. But he even has some on his lip. That I didn't notice. Wow. But then he also brings the 2 serum. He said, why do you bring 2 goats? 2 goats is for the tum in the Beis Hamikdash. What's the second one for? For the tum in the Beis Hamikdash. Why do you need 2? Maybe he was tamei in between. So maybe 400? Hashem is compassionate about Klal Yisrael's money. Only 2. So now, Nizrak Dam Sharishain, if they perform Zrika on the carbon number 1, Sheni Lamu Ba, why in the world do you have to do Zrika for the second one? So he explains, Al Tuma Sha'ira Ben Zrika Shazelazeh. Perhaps somebody became Tamei in the 5 minutes, the 10 minutes between the 2 Zrikas, maybe then. But Akal Padim, the Gemara says, Atkan Loikim Barle. So let's go back to now that we know the question, it's a little better. The whole question was if the guy is over here in this place, between Zrika 1 and Zrika 2. Atkan Loikim Barle Ela Asay, the Lacher Shchita. Can this animal give you a kapara on a isser that you did after the Shchita? I say the Lacher Afrash Loikim Barle. There was pashut that if the tumah happened over here, certainly the carbon is going to come and give you a kapara, even though it was already named and he already has a sign on him that he's a chatas. Yeah, there was already a hafrasha, there was already hagdasha. He's called a chatas. So that answers our question. From over here, you see that the animal, the carbon that was already designated and put aside as a chatas, does have an ability to forgive afterwards. So the Gemara says, "Dilma im timtzalay makamar." You're right. There's no raya. The reason why he didn't ask the question from this stage, and he only asked it from this stage, is because he was saying, Intim Tzolayimar, if you say this stage is good, the animal does work, what about this far stage? Way ahead. It's all the way after all the Zrika of the first one, but before the Zrika of the second one. Does it also work at that point? In other words, he wasn't sure about this step right over here. So don't ask me a question that you see from here that it works. He still wasn't sure. Itmar. New sugya, brand new sugya, Rabbi Isa. This is a little tricky. In other words, just to explain very carefully over here. Let me ask you something. When you have a mind to bring a carbon for your friend, yeah, we said that's called shinui bailam. Just to here, Yoshi did something here to make it easier for us. The Shinui Kodesh and Shinui Bailam. Meaning, you change from a chatos to a shlamim. You change from Ruvain to Shimon. Those are the two things. The Kohen has a bad thought in his mind. Instead of thinking to himself that it's a shlamim, he thinks to himself it's a chatos. He's thinking to himself it's a chatos. Instead of him doing it for the guy with the red beard, he thinks to himself he's doing it for the guy with the blue turban. Shinui Bailam. What does it mean, Shinui Bailam? So we have to explain it. We have to explain a little bit. Shinui Bailam means I want the guy with the blue turban to achieve the kapara. I want him to have the forgiveness from that animal.
He needs it?
Yeah, he needs it. He's also Machal Shabbos. I know, yeah.
Okay.
The Kohen was in Shul, he saw that he did an Avera, so he decided to be a Chazer. He went to the Beis HaMikdash, the guy gave a carbon, and he thinks, you. I have somebody better to give it to. Baruch Shalom, be Mechaper, my friend in Shul. I saw that he turned on the light 20 times by mistake. Real Gneva, yeah. So, but over here it's a little different. That's why I'm pointing it out. Rashi says right away, we're not talking about a toida only. It could be any carbon in the world. It's just an example. What did he do? Over here, he didn't do what we just described, that he wanted his friend to get a carbon, the achievement of the carbon toida. Over here, he said that this toida should be his friend's. It's different. It's very similar. Let me show you Rashi. It's what I'm saying. I understand. It's a little dakas dik. Let's see Rashi. Maybe Rashi will explain it better. He wasn't thinking that Shimon should get the kapara. Over here, it's similar to changing the type of carbon it is rather than the owner over here. Why? They both, Reuven had a carbon toida, Shimon had a carbon toida, acheres. But here's the thing here, to explain a little bit. It's similar to saying that this chatos over here, instead of it being for blood, it should be for the chaylev. I'm saying instead of it, this carbon. So basically, instead of the carbon being for Reuven, it should be for Shimon. Now that Shimon should get a kapara from it, I'm changing the designation, the type, the carbon. Instead of Reuven, it should go to Shimon. Rabbi Amar Ksheira, Rav Chizda Amar Psula. Machlokes, if it's kosher or not. Beautiful thing. What's a toida? Toida is when something terrible happens to somebody comes out of jail, somebody crosses the desert, came out of a disease. He brings a thank you to Hashem. Today, we get up, we say a 2-second bracha. In those days, he paid $500. How much does a sheep cost? Approximately $500. He brings it to the Beis HaMikdash. It's the whole process. It's not bracha in the local shul. You have to take this sheep, travel from Tzfat all the way to Beis HaMikdash, and bring it. So, the person who wrote the Tfer Shmuel, he was in the Gzeres Tachtat in Spain, and they got his family. They killed his two. Tachvatat, yeah, Tachvatat in Poland. They took his two daughters and they killed his two daughters, and they beat him up. And he said, Rebbeinu Shalom, if I get out of here, I'm going to write a sefer. That's his toida to Hashem, his thank you to Hashem, and Kachava. He survived, and he wrote a sefer that's common in Kachim. It's called Birkas HaZevach. Birkas HaZevach. That was his thank you to Hashem. When I read about it, I was thinking to myself, you don't have to wait until a terrible thing happens to give thanks to Hashem. That's why Rabbi Pessin keeps on writing Sfarim all the time. He was toida beforehand, but you don't have to write a sefer. There's other things you can do. Toida Hashem, thank you Hashem for surviving. Yeah. Okay. They're not thinking now. We went through crazy nisim here in Eretz Yisrael. But I looked around in shul, when they say it's already 2 years. We say a kapitel tilim. We're in the middle of a war. We're still in the middle of a war. Everybody wants to destroy us. Every country, this and that, and war. We have a lot of chayalim on the lines, and you say Kapitel Tilim, people are schmoozing, people leave the shul. It's like, it becomes like, you don't, we're in the situation, we're still in the matzav. Like one day we're going to look back and say, wow, we're in a war. We still have the sirens go off every Monday and Thursday. I mean, it got a little less now since the guys in charge are not around anymore. I don't know what the reason, whatever, they're running out of stock. But it happens. In the middle of nowhere, all of a sudden, woo, and we forget. We don't, barely have Kapitel Tilim, you could say. Anyway, am I right? You see these guys?
Yeah, right.
You become used to it. It's a big deal. What a big deal. We're in a war. Right now, we're in a war. What?
Hair go.
Comes the hair go.
Like the other side of Daf Yomi. The hair goes the bad way.
Where are you? I have no idea. Oh, so why? Rabbi Amak Sheir, Rav Chizna B'Sula. Rabbi Amak Sheir, what's the pshat? What's the difference here? The bottom line is, you're right. You messed up a little bit. You put this animal on Shimon instead of on Reuven, but it was shechted for the right one. It was for a taida. You need to do it for the right person. How do you know I'm right that it's kosher? At the end of the day, we shechted a toida shlamov. So that's the halach that we had the other day. This pasuk is not coming to tell you that if you shechted for somebody else, you were yaitza. The pasuk is coming to tell you that if you shechted toida with the wrong intent, you said this toida is a shlamim, it's kosher. Shlamim shenishchatu, the shem toida psulim. If you remember, I gave an example of making a hadama on an apple, which you yaitza, but if you make ha'etz on a cucumber, you're not yaitza. In other words, a taida is in the category of shlamim. A shlamim is not in the category of taida. Here he made a picture. I didn't even show it yesterday. This is taida. The kavaduman, I guess. It says on the side, "Ani taida." I'm thank you. Begam shlamim. But I'm not. If you say shlamim, you're not a taida. So, no wonder I love that character. It's a shmaka character. You see that he's a taida. You see, you don't even need to think. He's a taida. He's saying thank you. This is Chazar Rabbi saying, Taida Kuri Shlamim, Ben Shlamim Kurim Taida. Now, Shlamim L'Shem Taida Psula. Since a Shlamim is not called a Taida, so if you say the Shlamim is a Taida, no good. Taida L'Shem Taida, Sheira. So the Gemara is Medayik. It's only because you're saying Shlamim is a Taida. That's why it's possible. But what if you say a Taida is a Taida, like our case, which is a little bit of a stretch, because in our case you're putting a taida on somebody else. You're saying that my taida, Reuven's taida, should be for Shimon's taida. Kosher. And the Gemara says, my love the chavrei, even for a friend. Loi, didei. What does that mean, didei? This guy, he broke out of Alcatraz, and he swam across the ocean to get home. So he did two things. He came out of jail, and he also went over the ocean. So now he has to bring two taidas. And in those two taidas, he messed up. Like he had to bring a taida, a chatas for his chaylev, and he brought it for the dam. But don't mix up a case of his taida for his friend's taida. So it says, so you tell me that it's possible if you do it for your friend. If you're already telling me a case of shlamim that by mistake you messed up, instead of saying shlamim, you said taida is possible, I have a better case. Listen to taida shem taida. Forget going from one type of carbon to another. Within taida itself, I have a case where it's possible. If I do a taida for Reuven and I say it's for Shimon, it's possible. Because you can shlamim Hashem taida. And then everybody would know that shlamim would be possible. That if I do shlamim and I say it's taida, then it's possible. If taida to taida is possible, so certainly shlamim to taida is possible. No, not true. Shlamim Hashem taida, the day it's rechlei. No. It's not true. I would think that if somebody says shlamim instead of taida, it would be good. Why? Because if somebody says the opposite, taida for shlamim, it is good. So shlamim for taida, yeah? Taida is in the category of shlamim. So if I say taida, it works, even though it's a shlamim. Even though if I say that this should be a shlamim instead of taida, it works. But I do the opposite, it doesn't work. I need to tell you that chiddush. Here, even I just got mixed up. Huh?
But it's his own, you would think.
Yeah, within his own, I would think it's
both ways.
In both cases it works. Because if one case it works, what's the difference? Taida, shlamim, taida, it's all the same? No, it's not the same. But don't bring me a raya that mixing up somebody else's taida with your taida is okay. I would think that it would work. That if you say that this shlamim is a taida, you would work. No, kamashma doesn't work. So we're going to learn now 7 halachas. Rava says 7 halachas. Fascinating thing happened yesterday. These are all the halachas. And this is taken from the end of the sugya. It's a very, very interesting thing. At the end of the sugya it says, Chatos almi mechaper oila la'achar doiron siman. So the first time I read it, I really thought that the siman is in the beginning of a sugya. That's how it always happens. Usually it gives you like charash, kalash, siman. And that means, it's the Rosh Tevis of these Tanaim that we're about to see, siman. A certain person asked me, what's going on here? It doesn't make any sense. And in Mamish, what doesn't make sense, he asked me, is that siman, chadzami mechaper, siman, and then the next line is almost identical to these words. It's a sugya in the Gemara. It says, why would I make a siman that's even longer than the actual line in the Gemara? Why do you make a siman like that? But it turns out that the siman is at the end of the sugya. We're about to learn 7 halachas. These are the 7 halachas, and the Gemara made a siman at the end of the sugya because it actually matches another sugya afterwards. So that's why they put the siman at the end. You hear what I'm saying? It's a little interesting, but it's cool. So some of these halachas are mamash chazara for us. We learned these halachas, a bunch of them. And I didn't really say that vart. We'll say it now, because the famous vart of Yikarehi mipninim that Ramaylich Bitterman said, I said it quickly then, but I didn't say, and this has everything to do with Mendy, because you could ask Mendy. Everybody knows. One carat diamond costs, let's say, $10,000. How much does a 2-carat diamond cost? It's not $20,000. It's how much? How much? $25,000, $30,000. A muscle that everybody can understand is a magnum. You have a 750, whatever, a liter of wine costs 300 shekel. 2 liters in one bottle doesn't cost 600, costs 900 shekel. That's how it goes. See, kari mipninim, the Torah is worth more than diamonds, meaning every time you chazer, you don't get double the schar. You get much more. You get 3 times if you chazer, because it's not one daf. It's not 1 times 2. It's much larger. So the schar is much greater. So we're doing chazara now. We get a lot of schar. It's kedai to do chazara. Compounds differently, very differently. Amar Rava. But I don't know if it works like that with the lab diamonds. It does not, he says. The larger the is, you get actually a discount on every carat.
Totally like, yeah.
Can't trust him. You're right. Can't trust him on that. On that we can't trust.
Ruin this business. I'm a Rava.
He got out way before because he did it l'shma. Right there. So I don't know if Dailam knows here that one day Mendy said he wants to be a. Where are we? Omar Rava. Here we go. One by one. Chatos sheshachta l'shem chatos. If you have 2 chatos, one is for chaylev, one is for dam. You say that this chatos number 1, instead of chaylev, I did an aver for dam. I wanted the kohen messed up. You told the kohen, look, this chatos called Ruvain. I wanted to come to forgive on my chaylev, and the kohen messed up. He said it's for the dam, which are both chayev and chatos. Sheira. Gemara is going to bring a pasuk. But if the kohen messed up and said that this chatos should be an oila, l'shem oila, psulo, what do you do with it? Put it in the garbage. Burn it. My daima says Rava v'shochat oisal l'chatos Amar Rachmana. You have to have intent for chatos. Very chatos, l'shem chatos nishchata. He had the right intent of the chatos, just for what it is. The chaylev and dam he messed up. Okay, but it's for chatos. Kosher. L'shem oila. No. If you go to another category of a carbon psula, next halacha. So that would be this one right over here. Chatos. Chatos shochat l'shem chatos. Now we're doing almi. If you shechted for another owner, what is that called? Shinui bailim. Psula. Just to remind the olam, that's at the one avodah called zriko. But when you're doing zrika, you had in mind for another owner. Or when you're doing shchita, you had in mind that the zrika is going to be for another owner. But if somebody designated an oila, and I say that this chatas should be for somebody else, my time of a chibur olav. Olav alaya chaveira. Chaveira doing the day. If you change it to your friend, so your friend has to be similar to you. It's only when somebody is chayiv a kapara like yourself. We'll see a little bit more later. If you shech the chatas on somebody for somebody else who doesn't have an avera, so to speak, it's possible. Why? Everybody has at least one little avera, like Rabbi Kaplan said in a speech in the Shabbaton. He says that people looking for averas. He says Baruch Hashem, he has one avera he did this year. That the little cut that you do on the challah on Friday night, he messed up that cut once during the year. He was able to mess that cut. For that, he's going into Rosh Hashanah to be Mecha. In other words, he's joking. There's a guy comes to the Rebbe. He says, "Rebbe, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to come to Rosh Hashanah. I don't have any averas." So the Rebbe said, "Listen, go outside, bring me one very large stone and 30 small ones, and come back." So he goes out. Half hour later, he shows up struggling. Comes in with all the stones. He says, "Put it on the table." Good. He says, "Now take all these stones and put them right back to where they came from." He says, "I know where the big one went. I don't know." He says, "Oh, a big avera. You remember? Trust me, you have many, many small averas. You have no clue where and how. They're there." Says the Gemara, "V'amar Rava, chatos v'chaperes l'chayav yasei, yikav v'chaymer." Chatos could come and give a forgiveness on the assays. Like we mentioned yesterday, assay, a mitzvah assay, could be a lava nitikla assay, could be also veishav sagzela, certain things that have to do with an assay, mikav v'chaymer. It's pashut. Why? Achayav increases mechaperes if this chatos is so powerful, it can come and forgive you for something that you did b'shoigig, by mistake. But if you did it b'mezid, you get krisos, kares. So certainly it has the ability to forgive on very smaller averos. What? You're telling me that this chatos could forgive things that you're chayiv in asay? In other words, it's in the same category. These averos are in the same category. It's the same min. We just established that if you shech the chatos for somebody that's chayiv a chatos, that's one category, so you'd be possible. But if you have in mind for the ayla shabai, it's kosher. Why? It's a different category. So says the Gemara, mikiveh lo mikapro, mikufi mikapro. So we had this concept before, mikufi mikapro. This is the main avera that the chatos cannot take care of the main assays. But there's mikufya. This is like the secondary, the little ones, the little guys. So it goes like this. If a person set aside an oila, so then those averas, the chatas doesn't do anything for it. But if the guy didn't set aside an oila for it, so then the chatas is going to take control and be mechapet those little baby averas, whatever they're called, the mekufi averas, the ones that float on the top, the secondary ones. What happens if the chatas takes over and takes those little guys? Then it becomes possible. You hear what's going on? Since the chatas cannot do other averas, and you didn't take care of them yourself with the oila, and it grabs onto them, so it becomes possible. If you didn't designate a carbon oila, then it wouldn't become possible. V'amar Rava, Daf Amud Beis. Oh, sponsored by. Oh, I forgot to show all these Rashis. Adar Global, Specialist in International Financial Services. Anonymous, Anonymous, and gratitude to Reb Eli and MDY for promoting Achdus Yisrael and Ahavas Yisrael. Let me just make sure I got everything here. Oh, who, where? I don't see people. What? On this table, on the Archim table? Rabbi Schoenberg, Shalom Aleichem. Nice to meet you. Ooh, I don't see. Lawrence Spiegelman. That guy, he's an old guy. He's back. Shalom Aleichem. I was just talking about you yesterday. Seriously, yeah. Told somebody that you're an editor in a certain paper. I don't know, you're probably not there anymore, right?
I left Haaretz. I'm the Knesset reporter at Times in Israel now.
Wow. But it's huge. I tell people that in our share we have such, I don't think you're on the left or not on the left, but he wrote for Haaretz. You know what Haaretz is? It's crazy. But now he's a Knesset, what are you, a Knesset reporter?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just to show the diversity here, it says in the Gemara Simon. What? I don't know if he appreciates that. Maybe somebody made a joke like that and that's why he left. He's back. Thank you for coming back.
Who would make such a joke? I don't know. Who would do such a joke?
Oh, here, he did a very nice job. We're already here so we can see it inside the Gemara. But I didn't see this last night. Kobe probably put it in. Oila la'achar darin simen, and it says Tamin name ochem Reb Shimon chatas lami ba lechaper lama ba lefnei oila dairan. Because it has all these words oila achar dairan, but the simen is what we're learning now, and it just fits into the Gemara right after. Okay, just saying. Where are we? We did sponsors. Yeah. I know. I'm just looking over here to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Stay out of it.
What's this? Let me see. Oh, the trader we saw yesterday. Okay, good.
There's no two.
Velmarava. Oila sheshachta. Yeah, where's LA? Is LA on? Really? Both places did 2 daf? Hancock Park. If you have them on, we'll say hello to them for a second, because I want to be mechazik them. I want people in LA, including Shlomo Lazarian, Lushap, Kashnud, Floyd Mayweather. The Olam should go and be mechazik the guys in LA. Vamarava. Oila sheshachta. We have to continue because Mendy's in a rush. Where are you going, Taka? He's going to Oman. Vamarava oila sheshachta shalei l'shma asur lizrik dama shalei l'shma. Another halach that we learned: if somebody messes up, the kohen messes up by the oila, and he thinks himself the wrong machshava, I'm making this a shlamim, not a oila. It's also to continue with that thought with the rest of the process, with the rest of the avodas. You just get back on track, and you do what you need to do. You messed up, and then we said it's Yisod for life. Ibayisei mikra, ibayisei svara. Last time I said it's interesting that what you bring the svara before the pasuk, and over here the Gemara says, here we go. Shalom Aleichem, the guys in Los Angeles, the Masmidim, they did 2 daf Gemara. Ikari v'pninim on that also. What? See, guys? Got it. Givaldi. You can learn this from a pasuk. We said a whole pasuk that the pasuk starts with a neder, goes off to nadava, and then we said what's pshat because this Mendy's gonna love here. This one right over here. I don't know if Mendy saw this yet. What? The other one? The Uman one. That's the Taida guy. That's the Taida. Rav Weiss is doing a Taida. Demonstrating a Taida in Uman. So he asked, this is a neder. Why does the Torah say nedava? Because if you mess up of the neder, you don't do the neder k'mosh tzarech, it becomes a nedava. How does a nedava work, Mendy? You're gonna like it. Eventually, it's gonna grow on you. I love this. Mishum deshani ba. If you mess up, you should continue messing up. You mess up, so then you take control and you go right there. Kiduresh pirka, like we said in the beginning of the parak. V'amarav another halacha. Oila habal acher misa. If we had the case of the woman Nebuch, she died right after she brought her chatas, but she didn't live long enough to bring her oila, so her yarshim bring the oila. Shalab shina kodesh psula. Shina bailam kshera. Let's go back there. Maybe the oila needs a little refresher. If the kids bring the carbon and the kohen messes up and thinks that this is not an oila, this is a shlamim. it is possible. But if the kohen messes up, it says it's not for the woman who gave birth, but it's for this guy that I don't know what he needs an oila. They didn't mess up. Why? They didn't buy them lachar misa. There's no ownership after she dies. She died. Finished. No, there is a concept called bringing a car for somebody after death, and that kohen just messed it up. When he says, what? The Yoshim have to bring another carbon. But the question is, Davke Kamar, did he mean Davke Kamar Mar Yishbal Lachar Misa Uboy Lasu Yoy Lachrite? Did he mean seriously that there is considered ownership after death? Ememela, the Yoshim have to bring another carbon? Or the pshat is that the Yoshim get a kapara with that carbon. But they don't have to bring another carbon. No, the Yarshim have to bring another carbon. Another halacha. Oila dairinhi. What's an oila? A gift. So here's a Rashi that might change the way you perceive oila. How do you think about an oila right now? Oila is, you're in a good mood, you want to bring something nice to the Rebbeinu Shalom, you bring an oila. Reb David, that's how you learned until now? Okay, so we spoke about also a conversation. What else? In what I said, but a little different. So Rashi says beautifully, not like what you're saying, Reb David. Not coming to the Mechaber Asay, Kapara Mamish. When a person brings, let's say, a chatos, and he's relieved of his aveira, it's like a person who messed up with the king. The king's upset at him. And you get a lawyer, a good lawyer to go in there, somebody knows how to schmooze up the king well. And then after the king says, okay, fine, I'll let him live, maybe Dorim Biyadeh. Now the guy comes in and brings a gift. I didn't show this yesterday. This is the parklet. I got it. You get it? He goes, does his thing, talks to the king. Okay. Then afterwards he can go in there, six-legged sheep. So this dairon, this oila is a dairon. It's a gift to Hashem. After you get a kapara on your aveira, you bring that also. Just to point out that throughout the year we say that a oila is v'kraftim oila Hashem. You bring a oila to Hashem. On Rosh Hashanah we say v'asisem oila. Oh, how do you know? Because you're the chazan. V'asisem oila Hashem. So they say the pshat is similar to the guy that messes up and doesn't bring his wife an anniversary present. He forgets. He walks in. Didn't happen to anybody in this room, but you know what I'm talking about. We heard about this Maisa. So what does the guy do? The shaita. So I says, no. Do you remember? He says, yeah. I brought you myself. Here, I'm here. Oh, do not do that. But on Rosh Hashanah, you do it. You say, oh, Shem, I'm bringing myself. I'm the oila. I myself am the oila. The Kabbalah, it's working. It's mamish working. Some Shai Gracher put it on his status. Mamish, it's going well, the book. Baruch Hashem. Givaldik. No, I'm just saying it's a good thing. I told Oilam I hope the guy's not in the room. Maybe he is in the room. It'll be Michael. But somebody came over to Rav Nachman in Middle Kaddish and said something in this minyan. And then I saw you on Motzei Shabbos. Some kids were talking during Kaddish, and he went over. Just an awareness, not during Kaddish. Yeah, you ask him. I didn't say be meshugana and run over to the people. Oh, it's your own kids?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. That's beautiful. I don't understand. Why are you bringing this oila? If you didn't do tshuva, it's mamish. It's a strong language here. You did one aveir, you didn't do tshuva. You did a b'shoigig, you didn't bring a carbon. Zevach Rishayim Ta'eva. Hashem despises the carbon of a rasha. V'ideke tshuva, if you did do tshuva, hatanya over al mitzvahs aseh v'shav, if a person was over in a mitzvahs aseh and he did tshuva, you don't need to bring another carbon. There's a mechila on the spot. Elo shmaminot doirenu. You see from here that it's a gift, it's an extra. You don't have to, but it's a good idea to bring it. Chatos al mi mechaperes, oilo lachar doiren simin. So now you see what I'm saying? Everything we just learned is in these words right over here. Let me just show you again. So here it is. Here's everything put together. Chatos almi. Almi is really for two different things. Mechaper, oilo, la'acher. These are the 7 halachas we just learned. And,
One more.
sorry, Dairin. Oilo is a Dairin. Simen. Tain name hachi. Omar Reb Shimon chatos lama ba. Lama ba? What do you mean, why do you bring a chatos? L'chaper. If a person doesn't have air, he brings a chatos. Elo. Lama ba lifnei oilo. Why does it come before a oilo? L'praklet shenichnas. You have the, how do you say praklet in English? Not a lawyer, a representative, an advocate. Oh, I like that. That's great. An advocate. Beautiful. L'praklet shenichnas, ritzo praklet, if the advocate was he accomplished, then you bring a gift to smooth things over. So we learned in the Mishnah that there are 2 korbanos that if you mess up, there's nothing you can do about it. Over here, you don't say, let's continue on. Let's go. The carbon pesach and a chatos. If the kohen messes up and he says, this is not a carbon pesach, this is a carbon oila, this is not a carbon chatos, this is a shlamim, end the story. Toss it. Pesach ben olam. How do I know this halacha by carbon pesach that you cannot continue? D'chsiv, Shamor is chodesh havi v'asisa pesach. Psukim, easy stuff now. It says in the pasuk, v'asisa pesach, you shall do a pesach. Shiu kol asiyois l'shem pesach. Every step of the way must be for a pesach. And if you have in mind 1 second that it's a oila, it's gone. Ashkichon shinu kodesh. So that's okay because v'asisa pesach, that's the asiyah, that's the different avodah, the different thing. So don't mess up in the avodah and call it something else. Where do we see over here this idea of messing up also the ownership messes it up completely? Once again, we have another pasuk in saying the same thing that you cannot mess up in the carbon pesach. Now we have this concept you see on the screen. If I can't use this pasuk for the same thing again, I already have it. What do I need another pasuk? Let me use it for something very, very similar. Different but similar. I don't need it anymore to teach me that I cannot mess up the type of carbon. So I'll use it. I cannot mess up the owner. Which is interesting that this is not the first time, probably the third time since the beginning of the that we're using this concept to go from Shinui Kodesh to Shinui Bailam. Ashkechon mitzvah. Okay, there's a few steps here. Like we said in our Mishnah, a regular carbon, it's not the best. You're not getting the top mitzvah, but you continue going. You won't have a kapara. But you have to bring another one. But this carbon is a good carbon. So Ashkechon mitzvah, that's all I know so far. Lakim and Allah. How do I know it's possible? Throw it in the garbage or burn it, whatever you want to call it. The second pasuk. There's another pasuk. Tells me that it's garbage. Since I need this pasuk for something else, as we're going to see in a second, so I don't have it available to tell me that you have to burn it and get rid of it. What does Rav Nachman say? Oh, this is a famous halacha. You designate, you put your carbon pesach on the side. Everybody's so excited we're going to go to the Beis Hamikdash. What does this little guy do? Runs away. Runs away. I said the story last night because it came to my mind. I'll tell it to you also. I was in Utah. I wanted to show my boys. I did a little trip by myself. I wanted to see the houses that are next to my daughter and son-in-law, and also to see the views. I went up this, just 2 minutes away from their home. I just went up the mountain. Crazy views, beautiful homes. We get there, I show my kids, like 40 minutes before Shkia, and we see a dog, like walking around, like very lost. So we got out of the car and we saw he was thirsty. My son's like, the guy from LA, he has a dog. And it's like, wow, we've got to find the owner. She starts looking at the tag and we start making phone calls. Kitzer, there was a beautiful mansion there on the overlooking. And when I saw it before, I was like, wow, I wonder what it looks like inside. So now I had a great excuse. I knock on the door. I found the dog. The guy opens up. I found the dog. He said, this is your dog. Maybe this. So he started helping me. It turns out that he's Jewish. And I told him all about my son-in-law's program and this and that. It was good. And now, not only does the daf, he gives the daf. No.
Utah, France.
The point is, sometimes animals run away and they get lost. So this guy, he needs a Korban Pesach. So what does he do? He buys a second Korban Pesach. What always happens when you buy a Korban Pesach, second one? 3 minutes after you shachted, Shalom Aleichem, here he is. Somebody looked at the chip and they found, oh, this is yours. Now what do? Shekarev Shlamim. Korban Pesach is literally, it's in the category of Shlamim, and therefore you can bring it as a Shlamim. I already used the entire pasuk to tell me this halacha that I could take a Korban Pesach and do it as a Shlamim. And then it says in the pasuk, how do I learn it from here? I don't understand something. A Korban Pesach comes from goats and from sheep. Why does it say bakar, cattle? There's a Rashi, it's kedai to remember this, just to engrave it in our memory, because it's very yisaidistic. He says, why? A shlamim could be a male, female, a goat, and a cow, and a sheep. It could be anything. And then he goes just to describe, other things not. Every carbon is either this or that. Lamashal, he says, so to remember, they're always male. Asham also, not only a noila. Chatas is always, and he says we should give the chatas from now on like a skirt. Chatas hukvu b'nekevos. There's one type of chatas that we learned in the beginning of Sechta, but hukvu b'scharm kigun sari nasi. The king brings a zachar. But to remember, again, Oila is always a male, a Chatas is always female, Shlamim is everything. Both. And Mamela fits right into the pasuk, Zevach, Bakr, that the Korban Pesach should be a Shlamim. You're right, this pasuk of Zevach Pesach tells me that if you have an extra Korban Pesach after Pesach, make it as a Shlamim. So where am I learning from? Shamar is Chodesh Aviv. And what does it say at the end of the pasuk? Pesach tells me le mitzvah b'shini kodesh that if you mess up in a Korban Pesach, you say that this is not a Korban Pesach, this is a Oila, then it's a mess up. But we only have a mitzvah now. But we don't know that you have to toss it out yet. And now I have another positive Pesach to teach me that if you mess up in ownership, you also mess up the Korban Pesach. Here's the puzzle just to see. We have the two psukim here. Shomer Chodesh Aviv is for Shinu Kodesh. Shinu Bailam. And the extra word who is La'akev Bein Hacha V'Hacha. You toss them out. You can't use it anymore. Vashkon Zvicha, it's a Zevach in this puzzle. The Zevach for the Shchita. How do I know? Kabbalah Lachas Rika. Once I see this halacha by Shinu Kodesh that it includes all 4 avodas, so also by Shinu Bailam includes all 4 avodas. Rav Ashi Amar Hoyle Gali Lo Yamrin, I don't like that. He says, El avodas menon, how do I know all the avodas? The Chsiv Zois HaTorah Lo Yelev Mincha. You guys remember the Kokeli song here. But what's missing here is, and that's really in the beginning of the sugya I should have told you, Chutz Min HaPesach, Korban Pesach is not on this list over here. It's not in that pasuk. So, so this is important. Rashi brings this down. Look at this. This pasuk of Kakeli, so to speak, has all the korbanos. The pasuk afterwards, Lamed Ches, says Lahagir is korbaneim. From there, I can learn out also what's missing in the top pasuk, Pesach, Bechar, and that's called Smuchim. Since they're so close to each other, Shalom Aleichem. I forgot to ask you, what's your name? From? Shalom Aleichem. That's your son? Shalom Aleichem. Who else? There's a guest. The guy from. Okay, fine. Look at them sitting at 2 ends of the thing, but all worlds we have from the ganze Welt. We have a guy from Eretz Yisrael that used to write from Haaretz, and the guys from Cooperstein from Borough Park. Gewaldig. The Achtos. So the Gemara. And then when it's like this name Zebachor Meiser. Oh, so that second pasuk Zebachor Meiser Pesach, that adds the ones that are missing. Hekisha Akoshav L'Shlamim, and the Torah says that these two psukim are connected. Ma Shlamim Ben Shinu Kodesh Ben Shinu Ba'alim Bin L'Mitzvah, like we already established. That you have to have the right intent for owner and for type of carbon. Avkol Ben Shinu Kodesh Ben Shinu Ba'alim the Mitzvah. You should definitely have that intent, and if not, you have to bring another carbon. But you continue going with this. Ukishlamim. Ma Shlamim Ben Zvicha Ben Shara Ben Zlichalaktim the Mitzvah. There's no difference at what point of the avodah you did it. All four avodas. Fine. Now, Elahu Lamali. But if you're already Rav Safar, who's learning from the who, then you need the Shema. But over here we have a whole hekesh. You have these psukim. So why do you need the word who? Never Pesach hu b'shchita la'akev. It says the word who by Zevach. Zevach Pesach who, and that to tell us that you have to toss out this carbon Pesach. Aval Asham, it's to teach you the who. By Asham, it's not like that. Never by who. Where does it say the word who? Asham who. I forgot to bring the pasuk again. It says the word who. I showed it to you the other day. Elacha aktarasi murim. The who comes at the end when it's already not important. It's important, but not. It doesn't ruin it. By Asham, if you don't bring the pieces of animal onto the mizbech, it's still kosher. So Mamela the Lishma doesn't ruin it. Not like a Korban Pesach where it ruins it. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.